just to let y'all know how we'll operate this. Like usual, we will open it up to him for opening comments first. We'll ask you to keep your lines muted at that time. As soon as he's done with opening comments, we'll then open the lines. You won't need to raise hands or anything, just at your discretion. Please unmute your line, ask your question, making sure to identify yourself and your outlet. But with that, we will turn it over to Coach Sweeney for opening comments. Coach.
I appreciate it, Ross. All right, excited to get back going. It's always fun to start over and develop a new team. And so really just looking forward to that. Every year that's an exciting thing, and it is a new team. This is we don't get to carry anything over, good or bad. We truly start over, and this is a new team, 2021, and a new challenge ahead, and we're excited about that. But before I talk a little bit about this team, just briefly touch on 2020, and just a couple things about that. Obviously we were all super disappointed in how the season ended, but you know what? Unless you win it all, you always are a little bit disappointed. And I know this too. When you're a part of a program where people are disappointed you didn't win the national championship, then that means that you're at a special place. So again, disappointed, but another great year. Great year. Incredibly proud of our 2020 team and everybody's contributions that we had. From the players, the leadership, our staff, our administration, medical people. I mean, it was a challenge like we've never had. Something that, I'll forever be grateful for, all that went into it. And, just super proud of that team. We hit every single goal but one, and that was to win the closer. We finished third overall in the country, and we had 10 wins, and, there were 3 Power 65 teams, 3 teams out of the Power 65 that won 10 games, and that was us, Alabama, and Notre Dame. So just, really proud of our guys and all that went into it. Incredible accomplishment any year to win 10 games, but to be able to do it under the circumstances that we had to manage last year, just a credit to everyone involved. We won the league again. We got back to the playoff for our 6th year in a row, and a lot of great things, man. We had the highest team GPA in the history of our program, and we had 74 guys, the most we've ever had, make a 3.0 or better. So just a lot of great things. And, as we look back on it again, wish we'd have won the whole daggum thing, but I know this, we're off to a lot better start this decade than we were back in 2010. That's for sure. But, it's never about the destination. It never is. Even if you get to the place that you're trying to get to, it's not about that. It's always about the journey. It's always about the journey. And that's what you always remember. And I can just say, man, it's been an amazing journey to this point. At my time here at Clemson, and every year is a new journey. And it's a blessing to be a part of it. And I know we got a lot more great moments ahead. That's for sure. But again, we're off to a better start this decade than we were back in 2010. And, Churchill has a quote that I've always loved. It says, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts." And I've always believed in that. And for us, it's continuing to grind. It's continuing to learn. It's continuing to grow. It's continuing to believe. It's continuing to serve. And it's always about what's next. That's been our philosophy for a long time. Always about what's next. And what we have ahead of us is a fun new challenge. And we're excited and we're hungry to attack this 2021 journey as we start to get ready phase of this 2021 year. Our staff, we've had a few changes there. Really only one on the field change with our 10 assistants, but we have had the most support staff turnover really that we've had in quite a while, and excited for a lot of those guys that have been able to move on to some great opportunities, but also excited about, having the opportunity to kind of go to my depth chart, if you will, and give some guys some opportunities. So the only on the field is Coach Pearman, that, which I know you guys all know about that. Man, Coach Pearman's done an awesome job for us really since the day I've been here. And this is just, it's the right timing and something he and I talked about, and really just kind of, for our present status, but also for the future of where college football is. And, Danny is he's a great football guy, and he's a great evaluator, and he always has been. He's a really good evaluator. He's got a great mind for the game. He's worked on both sides of the ball. He's worked defense. He's worked offense. He's done special teams. He's worked all three phases. So he's got a great perspective. So, kind of a vision that I had was to really create this director of scouting position. And so he and Zach Fulmer are gonna head that up. And I know there's a lot of rhetoric out there. It's just that, it's all just like people sitting around looking at a portal every day, and that is a small part of the director of scouting role. This is high school scouting, college scouting. Obviously, from want to be positioned to be able to be responsive to anything that changes in the landscape of college football. But this is also about opponent scouting, self-scouting. There's a lot that goes into this, a lot of layers to this job. And this is going to be a great transition. It's going to be a great transition for Danny. It's going to set us up with what I think we need from an infrastructure standpoint to prepare for this next decade. As we navigate some new changes that are probably going to come our way. And it was just great timing also to be able to hire CJ Spiller. I mean, how cool is that for me? It's crazy, especially as you get a little older, life just seems to just go faster and faster and faster. You don't know where time goes, but seems like yesterday I was, chasing CJ Spiller all over the place, trying to recruit him, and now he's our running backs coach. And I knew we'd have an opportunity to hire him at some point. I just wasn't sure when he was going to be ready, and he was ready to make that transition this past year, and so he came on, and man, he's going to be a great coach. He's a natural. He's just one of those guys that gets it. He has a great respect for the game. He has great perspective of the game, but also, the position he's going to be coaching, obviously. And he's got a great perspective of Clemson. And, there's no greater ambassador for Clemson University than CJ Spiller. That's for sure. So, man, it's just really cool to have that opportunity, I love hiring former players because I think they have a great perspective. And it's awesome, for our offensive coordinator to be a guy that played here, and our quarterback coach, the guy that played here, and now CJ Spiller, our running backs coach who played here, Tyler Grisham, played here. We just have I think we have like 21 former players that are on our staff right now in different roles. And I just think that's a really cool thing for me. But CJ's got great experience, obviously, on and off the field, brings a lot of knowledge and again, just perspective that I think is going to be awesome. And so with him moving into running backs, Tony's going to coach the tight ends. That's a very, Tony can coach any position. So it was just an easier transition there. And, Tony will do an awesome job, just like he's done with our running backs for a long time. Bill Spires has been here, but he's going to step into a new role. He's going to be our director of special teams. So he's going to kind of, handle the special teams from an off the field standpoint. And then Mickey Kahn will be our on the field special teams coordinator and implementing everything, practices and so forth. And so, I just think that's going to be a good setup for us. And then we've got a lot of guys leave. Chancey Stuckey, he's been back. He was back here for the past couple of years, and he got the receiver job at Baylor. From our support staff. We lost all of our offensive support staff with the exception of J.P. Lossman. He's the only one that's back. So everybody else is gone. Chancey went to Baylor. and we were able to Cam Aiken, who just did a phenomenal job for us. He got the running backs job down there with Jeff in South Florida. Hot Rod, he's the running backs coach at La Monroe. Maverick Morris, who was our GA, he's the offensive line coach at Monroe. Chandler Whitmer, who was our offensive GA, he got hired as assistant quarterback coach for the Chargers. And then Sal Conti, who was offensive video GA, he got hired in a personnel role for the Atlanta Falcons. So all those guys moved on, and then Xavier Brewer on defense was our only change there. He got the DB job at La Monroe. And so as far as new guys coming in to take those guys' spots, Andrew Zhao was a quarterback. I had a chance to be one of his coaches. Always a guy that I've just always loved and had such great respect for. He was a championship player, and he's just a great person. And, I've had my eye on him for a long time, and just right timing. He's been a high school coach for a long time, but excited to have him. And Caleb Nobles. Caleb Nobles was the co-offensive coordinator at West Florida, and they won the national championship a year ago. And he's a young guy that's got great experience. He's a national championship player at Valdosta, a national championship coach at West Florida. He brings great experience for a really young guy, and good perspective. Cole Stout. This is a different Cole Stout than the one I first met, and I'm really proud of Cole. It's hard for me to believe he's been gone 6 years, but Cole spent 3 years at Jacksonville State, 3 years at Moorhead out in Kentucky, coaching the quarterbacks, and it was just a great time to be able to bring Cole back, and really proud of him. And again, he and Caleb, two young guys, but both of them have very good experience at this stage in their careers. Not just on the field, but in the programs that they've been in, they've had to manage and deal with a lot of different aspects, whether it be football operations, academic stuff, you name it. And so I'm excited about them coming back. Another former player, Tyrone Crowder. He's been coaching the offensive line in high school and up here at Daniel. They won the state championship last year. He's done a great job, and he's going to take Maverick Morris's place as our OLGA. Artavis Scott, I know that's going to be a familiar name, but Artavis is coming in to be our other on the field offensive GA. He'll take Whitmer's place. That's something that Artavis and I have talked about a couple times, and he's kind of ready to transition. He's been in the NFL the last 4 years. He was with the Texans this past year. He wants to coach, and it's just perfect timing. And what a great addition he's going to be. I believe he'll get here on Friday, and excited to have him back. And then Andrew Shipman will take Sal Conti's place as our offensive video GA. Taking Brewer's spot over on the defensive side will be Elijah Turner, who was a safety for us last year. He's kind of his dad was a coach. Elijah's kind of was a player coach pretty much the whole time he was here. A very, very respected guy on this team, and really good transition for him. Good timing for us to be able to have him and his knowledge step in and help that safety position and be our defensive GA. Other changes I mentioned earlier, Zach Fulmer, who's been here, he's going to assist Danny in the scouting area. Daniel Boyd is defensive player development. Ted Roof is a guy I've known a long time, and I've always had a lot of respect for Ted. He's always been a guy that does things the right way. Ted is living in the area out on the lake, and he's got a son at App State, and he's got another son, I think, that's trying to come to Clemson in the near future here. But he's going to be a defensive consultant for us, and so excited to have him inside the building. And we reshuffled a few staff responsibilities with Thad and Grant, and did some of the staff that's kind of already been here, because I really wanted to kind of free Kyle Richardson back up to get back in with the offense. So he'll move back in with the offense as an offensive assistant there, and off the field assistant. But other changes as far as staff. Carter Thomason is going to be a defensive video GA. We're going to hire a coordinator of football academics. That'll probably be announced here soon. and excited about that as we continue to chase our number one goal in this program, and that's to graduate our players and equip them with the tools they need off the field. And then really excited to get Thomas Austin back, another former player. Thomas was a captain for me back in 2009 and a great player, and played about 4 or 5 years in the NFL. And then we brought him back here, and Robbie did a great job of training him up, as an OL coach for 4 years. And then he went on to be the OL coach the last couple of years down at Georgia State, did a great job, with Coach Elliott down there. And so excited to bring Thomas back. He's gonna really be a great, help for Robbie in just managing that OL group and, all the young guys that we have. So super excited to have him join our family again. And then, from a roster standpoint, we've had a few guys that have moved on, but all graduates as of May. I think the only one that's moved on that's not going to be a graduate as of May is Boding. But we just appreciate all those guys and proud of them. Appreciate their contributions to our program, and certainly wish those guys all the best as they take the next step in their journey and taking that Clemson degree with them. I'm super proud of those guys. A couple other roster changes. Blake Vincent is going to medical, but he is going to stay. He wants to student coach. And if you've kept up with our program, Blake Vincent has been battling. I mean, it's a shame, but that's football. It's unfortunate sometimes. You wonder why guys just kind of, can't quite get over the hump from an injury standpoint. But he's had multiple surgeries, knee surgery, shoulder, you name it. And but he's still made a great contribution to our program. He's a great teammate, and he's an incredibly dedicated worker. But he's going to stay. He's finishing up his master's degree, and he's going to be a student coach for us. And then, Justin Foster, who graduated back in December, he's ready to move on, and he's got some really, really good and special career work opportunities that he really is interested in and really wants to get started on. Try to talk him out of it, but he had a very tough fall. COVID was a very tough thing for him. Justin is a guy that has always battled asthma and allergies. He's always had challenges with that. And when he got COVID last summer, that really, really set him back. And, he just wasn't able to do what he needed to do. And he's way better than he was, back in August. But he's still kind of working through that, and, really was hoping that he would continue that process and hopefully come back and play next year. But if you know Justin Foster, that he's first of all, he's a brilliant young man. He's incredibly smart. He has a lot of interest, and he's very, very talented. And he's got a great, career ahead of him. And he knows exactly what he wants to do. And he's got a unique opportunity, and that's kind of been weighing and tugging on him because he's graduated. He loves football, but he really wants to take this next step and get started with this part of his life and with his work career. So he's not going to be back with us. From an injury standpoint this spring, as we get going, Justin Ross will be back, and excited to see him out there rolling around and practicing. We're not going to let him have any contact. He's not doing anything live or any scrimmage or any of those stuff like that. But he will be kind of in our normal practice mode and getting some of our team separate periods in Indy and all those type of things. So we've got a good plan for him. And, he's still got another big appointment coming up in March, but he will be practicing on a limited basis. Luke Price, Jack McCall, KJ Henry, Landon Zanders, Balin Spector, and E.T. Rubin will definitely be out for the spring. All various postseason surgery type things that will keep them out. DeMonte Capehart also had a procedure that's going to probably limit him at least probably the first half of spring here. And Matt Bockhorst is doing great. We had to do a little cleanup surgery on him, but he's doing great. But we'll practice. We'll practice on a limited basis, and same for Davis Allen. both those guys will be limited. But other than that, the expectation is for everyone to be in practice. Obviously there's still a virus out there. I mean, it's still a part of our world. And, I think the worst thing for a bunch of young people is to not have the structure. We went 7 months or whatever, and just very, very minimal issues with the structure and the protocols and the motivation, from the FOMO of fear of missing out, not being able to play and so forth. And, just kind of getting those guys back in the rhythm of a season, if you will, and the motivating factors of now, hey, having to miss practice and just following the protocols and because at the end of the day, they're young people and we're not with them 24/7. So we got a few guys that, because these guys are part of a regular testing protocol here. So we got some guys that are going to, that have tested positive that will be missing some practices probably this first, week or so. And then we got some direct contact guys. So guys coming back, we have a few guys out today. They'll be back Friday. Some other guys back Monday, whatever. Not going to get into that, but all of those guys are expected to participate. There's no injury issues or anything like that, but they're all the ones that aren't able to practice are part of the, protocol, whether it be a positive test or a direct contact. So, but really excited to get back going and again, kind of reset the rhythm of the season that we had. Past 6 weeks, we've done a lot of quality control study. And, our position and our team goals for spring are a reflection of that study. We got a lot to do, and we're ready to get back at it. And first thing we got to do is we got to reinstall our program, core values of our program, and our core offense, defense, kicking game. That's always a goal and a part of our process every spring. We got to get our staff settled. And again, as you heard, I've never had this amount of time to talk about staff changes. So, but it's exciting. It really is. But we got to kind of get everybody settled in our new roles and understand, what we're doing. And we got to develop and set the foundation for this team this spring. It gets done this spring. It doesn't get done in August. You set the foundation for this team this spring. We only got 7 signees that will join us in the summer. So our team is here, and we got a lot of guys back, and we're excited about that. But at the end of the day, it goes back to the basics. It goes back to the fundamentals, the technique, the drill work, and making sure that our drill work is position specific and relevant and scheme relevant. As far as actually. And it all goes back, and again, a reflection to our quality control and the things that we've spent the last 6 weeks studying. So just, again, excited to get back out there. We got to develop the chemistry. We got to develop the leadership. Those are things you don't carry over. You have to reestablish. Develop. All across our roster. And then again, I know that's a lot, but just wanted to kind of get everybody in the loop on kind of what's going on inside the walls here. And we're going to get on the field here in a little while. But before we do that, I'll take some of y'all's questions.
Hey, Dabo. Scott Kiefer with the Greenville News. Speaking of leadership, could you kind of elaborate on the luxury of having 5 6-year guys for the first time?
Yeah, I've never had that. So that's kind of been a new thing, and man, what a blessing that is. We got a great plan for those guys. Obviously, those guys have played a lot of snaps, but just their knowledge, their leadership, their maturity, is pretty cool. To be able to have those guys, and we got pro day coming up here in a couple weeks, and we don't have any defensive guys in the pro day. Everybody's back. We got I guess 5 offensive guys, and one of them's already already performed. You got a left tackle, and you got Travis, obviously, you got Carmen and Travis, Cornell and Amari, from last year's team that's going in the pro day. So we just got a lot of guys back on this team. I mean, this is a really cool, because this is we've been a really young team the last couple of years, and we're still young in some spots, but this is the most veteran group that we've had since that 2018 bunch. We got a good group, man, and it's going to be fun to get back out. They know what we got to do, and starts with that leadership, and we got some grown men that are very, very committed, and they know what it takes.
Hey, Coach, Trevor
Justin was a guy. I was just gonna say Justin was a guy who it looked like at one point might have an NFL future, and I think led the defensive lineman in tackles for loss in 2019. Just how hard is it to see him have to go through this, and how have you guys tried to help him over the last year?
Yeah, I mean, he's made a lot of progress, and we talked about that. I mean, and he's a guy that like I said, I checked his oil. I tried to talk him out of it, but this is really what he wants to do, and he could. I really think he could play at the next level. I don't think there's any question about that. But there's still a process that he's got to go through to kind of get back to where he can do that. And we were all hopeful that he'd come back, and honestly, he could even not play next year and come back another year if it even got to that. But again, he has his degree. He's got a strong relationship with his girlfriend, and he's got a great opportunity that's in front of him, doing what he really wants to do, that he's really passionate about, and that's really what it comes down to. So he put a lot of thought into it, and talked with his family for a long time, and he knows he weighed everything, and this is really what he was just ready to move on. Just have to respect that and wish him well.
Hey, Dabo, David with ESPN. You talked about the new role for Danny. You have been in the past kind of reluctant to embrace bringing transfers in, but you had always said, as the world changes, so must your perspective. Obviously, we've gotten to a point where the transfer portal is a bigger and bigger piece. What is your thinking on it now? How do you think that kind of embracing it by putting somebody like Danny looking after it can help the program? And then just as a tag on that, what was the conversation with Mike Jones when he decided to leave?
Man, well, I need a notepad.
I know. Sorry about that. I got to get them in while I can.
Listen, man, I got to get back in media shape here. I got to get my mind right.
I've had months of storing these up for you.
Yeah, let's take Mike Jones. Mike conversation was great. I mean, he just, Mike is just an awesome kid and unbelievably committed and did a great job. He's graduating in May, and he just, I think, wants a little different experience. He wants to move inside the box, and this is just what he felt like was best for him. And again, my thing's always been about graduation, and I think when a young man graduates, I mean, that's to me what it's all about. And if he's ready for a different experience, then hey, we wish him well. But it was all good. And again, hate to see him go, but he did everything we asked of him, and incredibly committed. And again, he finished from an academic standpoint, and proud of him, love him, and know he'll do great. So that's that. And then as far as the portal stuff, nothing has changed. But I just know that the landscape is different, and I want to be well positioned, and I want to have an infrastructure in place that's going to help us continue to compete to be the best. And our philosophy has always been to recruit high school kids. I mean, we've signed, we have kids walk on from time to time from different places, but that's different. But we've signed, 2 guys since I've been here that were transfers. Right when Brent first got here, we signed a linebacker from Oklahoma, and then I signed a quarterback from Stanford that the understanding was he was going to be our third or fourth quarterback. I needed a third or fourth quarterback, and that's what he came here, you know, and he was thinking about coaching, and so it was a good fit. But I have not gone to the portal to address needs. We have done that always through our high school. We wasn't a portal then, but we haven't gone the transfer route, now the portal, ever, you know, to address the needs of our team. We've just always taken a lot of pride in our evaluation of high school kids and then our development of those kids. I mean, we've always been a developmental program. That's not ever going to change. That philosophy is always going to be in place, but the rules have changed. We hadn't changed. The rules have changed. You know, the transfer deal was always grads could transfer. We've never gotten into that market. In the past, if you transferred, you had to sit. But now you can be a freshman and leave and go be eligible. You can be a sophomore and go be eligible. You can be a junior and go be eligible, whatever. So the rules have changed. And so, you know, we just have to make sure that we're prepared if we have gaps in our roster. It's really that simple. I mean, because what's going to happen in college football is every May and every January, you know, and I think we'll be, you know, one of the least impacted. I really believe that. I don't think it's going to impact us a ton, but we will be impacted just like everybody else. But if we have gaps in our roster, all of a sudden, guys, you know, you get some guys that decide to leave in May, you know, well, guess what? You can't go recruit high school kids in May. So you better have a plan in place. So we've created the right type of structure. It's really kind of an NFL type model, you know, from a high school scouting, a college scouting. And, you know, I love what we've been able to do so far as the building the infrastructure and the information base the way I want it to be. It's been really, really good. You know, if we have to go that route at some point, well, guess what? We'll get the best. But our criteria, our process will be the exact same as it is for our high school kids. But, you know, we'll see how it all plays out. And, you know, but as far as guys that have left our program, you know, I'm going to the locker room not to the portal. You know, we've got a great roster that I really, really am excited about. And it's our job as coaches to develop them. And, you know, again, that's what we'll continue to do. But if we have some need or some big gap that is a result of this portal world that's out there, then we'll respond accordingly. We're always going to do what we need to do to give ourselves a chance to be successful. Always have and always will.
Hey,
Yeah,
Coach,
but
Trevor
when
Gross
you're
from
playing-
CUTigers.com. With Mike Jones leaving, how good do you feel about Trenton Simpson stepping into that nickel Sam role with the experience he had last season?
Yeah, I mean, he's, you know, I mean, what he was able to do last year as a true freshman was pretty special. I mean, he's a unique talent, and you know, he got a ton of experience. He got his nose bloodied a lot. It's gonna make him better, but he's a special talent, and you know, he'll be a guy that you'll see just like last year. You know, he didn't just go play nickel Sam. He played in the box, and he came off the edge. I mean, we used him in a lot of ways, and that just was kind of the tip of the iceberg of what I think. You know, Trenton has the potential to do. So, you know, we got a good, and then Malcolm Green, you know, Malcolm really did a good job of kind of developing as that true nickel for us. So excited about the guys that we have on the roster now and the guys that are just getting here in January, and a few of these guys that are coming this summer. We've got 7 that'll still be joining us.
Hey, Dabo, it's Phil Kornblut. Is there a single position on the team going into spring that you're most concerned about, something that might keep you up at night thinking about, we've just got to get better here if we're going to win the whole thing?
I mean, I think we've got a really good roster. There's really nothing that's keeping me up at night. We're not in that type of situation, but you know, from a you know, just roster standpoint, I think the biggest thing for us is just the youth that we've had in our offensive line. I mean, we have 16 scholarship linemen. We have 1 senior and 2 juniors, 13 freshmen and sophomores. And so that was a weakness for us last year. Not the line. Our weakness was our youth and our inexperience. And so we have to, because I really like the guys that we've signed, the guys that we've recruited. I think Robbie's done an awesome job. We haven't always gotten the elite offensive linemen over the years, but yet we've been able to take ours and beat yours. And that's a credit to Robbie, man. He does an awesome job. But over the past 2 or 3 years, we've been able to really recruit a more ready guy, from a physical standpoint. The offensive line is always mentally a very big challenge. And I think we signed 4 outstanding linemen in this class. Super excited about that. We've got 2 still coming this summer, highly recruited guys that have really long-term high potential. And then last year's class as well. And you look at our senior, Backhorse is our only senior, man, what a productive player he's been. And just I love that guy. And then you look at Jordan McFadden and Putnam, that's our 2 juniors. Those are 2 really good players that have really done a good job for us and still have, in the first half of their career. Now they enter the second half. And then you look at those sophomores, some of those guys that got some experience last year and some of them that we redshirted. And then technically, I guess nobody redshirted, but in our mind they did. And then we got these 4 guys coming right in on top of them. So I really like the talent that we have. So, but we've got to develop that youth and get those guys, more confident and more functional. That was a weakness for us last year. Is we could hardly ever substitute. We just, we weren't where we needed to be. Whereas the year before, it was a strength. Our depth was so much better. And so that's probably the one area. And then defensive line wise, we were young and now we got to take another step. And I love the talent that we have there, but we got to take another step and we got to be a dominant force in those trenches.
Hey, Dabo, it's Pete at AP. When you lose a couple of guys, high-profile guys like Trevor and Travis, because they move on, do you spend extra time looking at those spots, or do you go back to the talent in the locker room, like you said, that you've worked real hard to get, and you're confident that the guys behind them will be able to step up?
Oh, man, I evaluate our roster daily, everything about our program all the time. It's always under construction, if you will. So I love that quote, the road to success is always under construction, kind of like I-85 out there. It's always under construction, seems like, that never ends. So I'm always evaluating, always, looking at those things. But like I said earlier, for us, we've recruited very well, and we've built this program, by being great developers of talent and young people that we've brought into the program. But yeah, there's nobody that's left our program that we can't go to the locker room and replace. And that's been the case forever and ever and ever. When CJ Spiller left, here comes Andre Ellington. When Kyle Parker was gone, here comes Taj Boyd. Taj Boyd was gone, here comes Deshaun and so forth. So we've always been able to do that. And again, that will always be our philosophy, but the rules have changed. So if things change from a roster standpoint in the future, we'll be prepared to respond. But I got a bunch of guys down in that locker room that we recruited to come in here and be great players, and we're highly recruited guys and guys that we, handpicked, and they handpicked us. So that's where we go.
Dabo, going back to Josh from Charleston. Just on that note, how excited are you for the start of the DJ Uiagalelei era?
Okay, say that 3 times, fast as you can. Let's go.
I can't.
Uiagalelei. Yeah, I'm super excited, and how can you not be? You got a sneak preview to what this kid can do, man. I mean, it's unbelievable what he did last year. I mean, in Boston College, you find out on a Wednesday night or Thursday that, hey, you're going to be the starter, but seeing his work ethic and his love of preparation is super exciting. Just to, obviously his talent, his skills, his size, all that's just special and it's unique. But to see how smart he is and to see how he loved to prepare and how he just, he loved working with Trevor and watching and learning from Trevor. It's just awesome to watch that. And then when he got his opportunity, man, he was unbelievable. I mean, and then to go to Notre Dame for your first start and throw for more yards than any quarterback in the history against Notre Dame. So I think we all got a lot to look forward to in that young man. And so I'm excited about seeing him out there today. And I'm also excited about Tyson, man. He made a lot of strides for us last year, but now him stepping into, this next role, I want to see him go compete. And he's a guy that, man, we've got to get to another level, this spring. He's one of those guys that is functional, but I really want that. I want that confidence to be there that he can go, win the game and go win the championship. He's got to be ready and have that mindset. And I just think there's a whole nother level we can get to with Tyson. So I'm excited about him as well.
Hey, Dabo, it's Gary from Clemson Sports News. Back to the defensive and offensive lines, two players, Walker Parks on the offensive line. What you think about Walker since you've met him back in the day at camp and where he's at now? And the other guy, Trey Williams, a guy that we saw a little bit last year, but had flashes and a lot of upside coming in.
Yeah, two great freshmen. Really, really high potential in those two young men. And that's why I'm talking about, I just love, kind of how our recruiting, where it's gone the last couple of years. And again, they're young, but they're not going to be young for long. And Walker Parks was a big bright spot for us last year. He's got a great future. I mean, he is, man, oh man, is he about his business. I mean, this guy loves the game of football. He loves practice. He loves meetings. I mean, he has got through the roof potential and upside and incredibly committed. So we saw that last year. And as he continues to develop, man, it's just sky's the limit for him. So excited about, what he's got a chance to do this year. And then Trey, was able to play a couple games. We had to do surgery on his shoulder, so he was out the rest of the year. But man, and we went ahead and did the surgery because we really wanted to get him back for spring practice. So he's going to be out there today. And let me tell you, Trey Williams, I saw enough of him to see, his natural ability. And he's still got a lot to learn. He's got a lot of improving to do, but he is a high level talent at D tackle, and a lot of natural stuff. He's twitchy. He's explosive. He's incredibly athletic for his size. He's a smart guy. He understands the game. And, I think he's going to be a guy that you're going to talk about for a long time around here these next few years. He's got the right stuff.
We have about 5 more minutes.
Dabo, this is Grace Trainer with The Athletic. Now that you guys have obviously had more time, what did you learn about the Sugar Bowl, and I guess what went wrong against Ohio State now that you guys have really looked at it?
Well, we stunk. We played terrible on defense. Probably the worst defensive game we've played since probably the Orange Bowl in 2011 when we got smashed down there in Miami. And again, it just is what it is. I mean, we played terrible technique. We got beat up front. We didn't play perfect offensively, but we played well enough to have a chance to win the game with just a little bit of a normal, defensive game. Kind of like 2017, I thought our defense played well enough to win that game, but we were stunk on offense. We couldn't, get past midfield hardly. So the biggest thing is, those type of games are hard to win. You step in those arenas, and we've been very good on that stage. We're 4-2. We've been to 6 playoffs. We're 4-2 in playoff games. I wish we were 6-0, but we're 4-2 in playoff games, and we're 2-2 in national championship games. It's hard to win. Those games are incredibly competitive, and the little things matter. And I'll tell you, one of the other things that's probably, is so understated is momentum, especially early momentum. And, you know, it's tough. You see that on the biggest stage. You see that in the Super Bowl. And, you know, just little things that create bigger issues. And then sometimes games can get away. I mean, 2 years ago, last month, I mean, we beat Alabama by 28 points. We weren't 28 points better than Alabama. We were that day. And you're talking about a team that had, you know, Devontae Thompson, Judy, Waddle, Ruggs, you know, Damian, Josh, Najee, Jalen, Tua, Mac, all them linemen. But we were that day. And it comes down to, you know, critical plays, critical penalties, mistakes, and, you know, getting momentum. And we never could get the momentum. And we had a chance to cut it to a 7-point game there, 3rd and 11 or whatever, backed up, a chance to get the ball at midfield and, you know, just throw a swing pass out and you don't make a tackle on me. So it comes down to the little things. As far as what you learn, well, you got to do the little things right. You know, it's tackling, it's alignment, it's when you're supposed to play 3 deep, play 3 deep. When you're a post player, you got to play the post. It's the basics. And so we just did a really poor job in that game across the board. And they were just better than us. They just lined up and outplayed us, kicked our tails every which way. So, you know, the good news is, I mean, we know we're better than that, but we weren't that day. They were better than us that day. Just like Bucks were better than the Chiefs that day. Were they that much better? No. But, you know, big plays, momentum, penalties, turnovers, field position mistakes, you know, all those type of things. In games like that, you just don't have a lot of room for error. And again, we've been really good in the playoff era. Alabama's got 8 wins. We got 6. And the next closest team is Ohio State. They got 3. And if you put us head to head, you know, Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, we're 4-3. Alabama's 3-3. And Ohio State's 2-3. So, you know, I wish we were undefeated, and was certainly disappointed in how we played, but I think it's also important to keep the right perspective. You know, I've been on both sides of it. Just 2 years ago, you know, we beat a great Alabama team, a 14-0 Alabama team by 28 points. And it was a bad day for them, a good day for us. And, you know, disappointed in how we played. And that all comes back to me. It's my responsibility. So, you know, but we had a great year. It was a bad night, but another incredible year. And, you know, really, really proud of that team. But it comes back, you know, to the basics. It comes back to the fundamentals and the little things and situational awareness and so on. But you learn from it, you grow from it, and, you know, I'm thankful for it. Again, I'd rather know that pain than to never experience it. But you know, again, that's in the rearview mirror. It's all about now, you know, getting ready for a great practice today.
All right, with that, we need to get Coach to the practice field. Appreciate y'all joining us. We will be back at this link post-practice. James Skowski and Nolan Turner, our super seniors on defense, will be leading us off tonight. So thank y'all very much.
Super senior.
Coach.
All right.
Thank
All right,
you.
man. Appreciate it.